I went on this big trip back in November of 2019, but now it's been a couple of months and I'm finally going to show you the video from that trip. I guess I got busy with the holidays and a new semester, then this whole coronavirus thing, but finally now, in May 2020, I'm going to show you this video. So, this was a trip to go visit some friends in Tennessee, but also to visit 3 new states that I had never been to as part of my quest to visit all 50 states in America. Also, I tried something a little bit different in this video. I tried doing some narration as I went, but the sound isn't perfect, so I'll probably jump in. I mean, this current version of me in 2020, I'll pop in every once in a while to narrate a little bit more. Okay, so here's the video of my trip, and it all started with an early morning drive to the train station. Okay, here we are on the way to the airport, on the way to the train station really, at 4:16 in the morning to go see, I'm gonna go see Tennessee today. So my first time in Tennessee ever in my life. But yes, this is very early. Drive to the train station, train to the bus to the terminal, and then plane to our different destinations. Anyway, looking forward to it. I only brought one personal item, which had to fit, as she says.
Only the one personal item for underneath the seat in front of you. Zone 2, you're welcome to board.
There's an old Chinese proverb that says that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But in the modern world, I say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a pushback. And that's literally true, right? Most of the time I go 1,000 miles, that journey starts with everybody filing in one little door, sitting down, facing the same direction, buckling their seatbelts, then going backwards at like 2 miles per hour. So there's probably something profound about that, about the modern world, about how every journey starts with going backwards, or something like that, but I'm not sure what the metaphor is. Anyway, it was an early flight, so we had a great view of the sunrise. Well, I made it to Tennessee. My first time in Tennessee. Now I'm going to get my rental car. I got to my rental car, and guess what? It's brand new. It only has 6 miles on it. Okay, I'm gonna drive it several hundred miles this next couple days. Okay, a lot of the trip was like this, just driving. I'll start with a summary I did near the end of the trip. Hello, I'm near the end of my trip to see 3 new states. I landed in Memphis. I had never been to Tennessee. Then I spent that night near Chattanooga, Tennessee. The next morning I got up early and hung out with my friends and then left for West Virginia, but not before eating dinner in Virginia. I had never been to West Virginia before. I spent the night in Charleston and then got up the next morning and drove towards Kentucky, but not before stopping in Ohio. I went to church in Ohio because it just happened to be right there across the river where I was driving. And then I walked to Kentucky. I believe it's the first time I've ever arrived in a new state by walking. Although I found out that Kentucky is not technically a state, it's a commonwealth. And actually that's where I am now. This is the capital of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Next, I will drive a little ways to the other end of Kentucky, spend the night there, and then get up the next morning and drive back to Memphis, where I fly home tomorrow afternoon. Next, I have a bunch of random scenes of places I saw. I visited Knoxville, which is located on the Tennessee River. I also went through Virginia for about an hour. Didn't stop and do much, but I'm on my way to West Virginia. I just now entered West Virginia for the first time ever, and it happens to be light enough just because I'm going under a tunnel. Okay, this is my first stop in West Virginia. And I'm looking at the stars and I can see the Milky Way, but it's really dark out here, which is very cool. I'm here in Charleston, West Virginia. This is the capital of West Virginia. You can't see it very well, but I'm standing on West Virginia, and behind me is Ohio over that bridge. Wow, this is a big bridge. Look at that. And this is really interesting because they have these huge big walls along the banks. I think it's because there used to be flooding. It looks like these old walls because the other side of the bank doesn't have any of these. Maybe 100 years ago they had flooding here. I don't know. There are 3 states in this picture. I'm standing on West Virginia, and over to the right is Ohio, and over to the left is Kentucky. I'm about to go into my last new state for this trip, and that would be Kentucky, right across that river over there. And I've decided to walk there because this may be the last time that I could walk to a new state. I've flown to new states and I've driven to new states. I think I even took a train. There it is. I am walking into a new state, walking into Kentucky. Okay, so I'm in Catlettsburg, Kentucky, so I'm well and truly in Kentucky for the first time. I walked across this sad little bridge, the Chestnut Bridge. Sorry, bridge. Next, I'm gonna walk back across the bridge and drive across the bridge and go on to go see the state capital of Kentucky. I visited downtown Lexington, Kentucky. On this trip, I also saw some fall colors. As you can see, there were some, although most of the trees seems to have turned already, but it was fun to see fall colors in a way that I don't usually see in Southern California where I live. So this is a lot of what my trip looked like because it's winter and it gets dark early.
Born in, and therefore social democracy is paramount. You get to very different ideas, but they both take their starting point from
Crossing the Mississippi River into Missouri. I'm crossing another bridge into Tennessee. This time it's the Mississippi River arriving in Memphis. Okay, I'm at the airport. I just dropped off that car. Sad to say goodbye to that car. It was a good car. I was glad I got to be the first driver. And now I'm at the airport getting ready to go through security. So I've got everything packed away into my jacket except for my driver's license and boarding pass so that I can quickly go through the TSA pre-check line and get to my gate. I have plenty of time. But it was a fun trip. Glad to go home. Looking forward to being back home again. But yeah, it was a good trip and got to see lots of stuff. Okay, I'm back in May 2020. Another interesting thing about that trip is I decided not to take a camera and just use my phone to take pictures and video. And at the time, I had the original Google Pixel phone with a 2.5-year-old battery, so I was always carrying around this big fat charger everywhere. But don't worry, I've upgraded. I now have the Pixel 2 as of February. Both phones have a great camera, but I probably could have used a better mic. And also, I've added one more state to my list since that trip. I went to my cousin's wedding in Oklahoma City the first weekend of March and visited Arkansas City in Kansas 2 days later. Then I flew home on March 4th, 2020, right before the whole country shut down, and I haven't been anywhere since then. In fact, today was supposed to be my return flight for this super cheap ticket to Fort Lauderdale, round trip for $52. Even though the wedding I was supposed to go to was postponed a while ago, I was still thinking about going anyway. But as it got closer and closer, I was thinking, what am I going to do in Florida? But it took me a while to actually cancel the flight because it felt like a bigger decision. It felt like a representative of this question of will I ever fly again, or what will travel look like in the post-pandemic world. So I didn't cancel it for a while, agonized about the decision, but finally decided, okay, there's nothing to do in Florida. I don't really want to go there. So when I went online to cancel my ticket, I hadn't been paying attention to my emails closely enough, I guess, but it turns out that Spirit Airlines had already canceled my ticket 10 days before that. So I didn't even need to sit there and worry about whether to go or not. It already had been decided for me. But actually, in a sense, I'm glad it worked out that way because then I could make the decision myself and come to the conclusion, okay, I'm not going on this trip, even though technically the decision had been made a while before that. So I don't know when I'll travel again next. I do have a couple of trips coming up, maybe in July and maybe in September. Okay, so there you have it. That's a couple of updates on my recent travel. Thanks for watching. If you guys like this, subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.